time to get it on right here on Black Power Media. This is no other than a Remix Morning Show. Now, I go by the name of the Air Doctor, and let me introduce you to our host. We got no other than Jackie Lukman. And burn it down, Kim Brown. Yeah.
Yes. Hey, y'all. Hey.
That was a little B-side club banger from Tony Braxton. A lot of people don't know about. Big up to Tony Braxton. Big up to that Tony Braxton haircut. I mean, it was certain haircuts that had, like, you had the what was it?
Halle Berry.
You had the Anita Baker.
Mm-hmm.
And the Tony Braxton. All the low cuts.
Shout out to Nia Long and Friday. Nia Long had the short haircut in Friday, but no, Tony Braxton was out there, was out front with the short hair. Mm-hmm. Of course, that's Anne Arundel County's own Tony Braxton. She is a Maryland chick. All them Braxton girls hail from Maryland.
What's fly women from Maryland? I don't know what they got in the water up there. How y'all doing?
It's Wednesday, man. Jesus.
Ooh, I look like somebody dragged all up in here.
What you look like? What you look like?
I look like coffee helped me. And his BPM up.
Yeah, this is a rough week. It's a lot going on. It's very busy. I'm very tired.
Okay, Kim, we ain't see you yesterday. How was your weekend?
Weekend was good. I had a good weekend. I went to the Black Folks Museum for the first time.
Oh, okay. The Black Folks Museum.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Speaking of having a good time, I heard there was a party and I wasn't invited. It got lost in the mail because Ricky Ryan didn't give me my invitation.
You get lost in the mail. You're not a member.
And you got email.
How's this mic sound? What's going on over there?
Good. No.
Yeah, you got to get loose. Yeah.
Right.
There you go. There you go. You see how Kim got her mic?
Yeah, but it's like all in my face.
That's how to hear you, baby. You gotta put the mic in your face so folks can hear you.
A little bit. Yeah. So yeah, just there you go. Nah, you good. How you doing today, Ricky?
I am exhausted. Really late night organizing stuff, and then early morning putting a kid on the bus. I still got more work to do. So yeah, but I'm good. Okay.
I thought you was tired from taking shots at me.
I can never get tired of that.
That is an inexhaustible activity.
Find the energy and make the time.
I'm here for it, Ricky. I'm here for it. Word.
Y'all getting warmed up for CBC Congressional Black Caucuses this week, if I'm not mistaken. All the bougies are in town.
We had so much going on. We, meaning the Black Alliance for Peace, we had so much going on that we really just did not have the capacity or the time to focus on a demonstration of those people. But don't worry, we gonna get back around to them soon.
So what's the big thing you're tackling right now?
What are we not tackling?
That's the thing. It's like there's everything. We've got the Zone of Peace campaign. There is the situation in Haiti. There is the situation in the Sahel that changes daily, which we're going to talk about today. It just Nigeria is wilding out. The president of Nigeria is wilding out, and that's just internationally. There's Cop City domestically, Cop City in Atlanta, Cop City cropping up in Baltimore. Where else, Ricky? Have they
Newark? There's one. Well, I know Renee has spoken about Newark, but I know in North Carolina, they have a proposal that they passed their city council in one of the counties. I can't recall right now, but yeah. So they're popping up all over. And that's in addition to the 1033 program. So that's an ongoing campaign for us. So we're still working through that. So yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot going on.
And shout out to Clow O'Brien, who was at the UN yesterday when Dina Boluarte, the coup leader in Peru, spoke, and they shouted her down. Fantastic. There's so much going on in the world, and it's hard to keep on top of it, but you have to, because we have to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I think that's the benefit in being an organization, because you can't keep on top of everything. But there are people who cover those things, like Cloud, right? Cloud specifically works dealing with Peru. You can read all of Cloud's work on Black Agenda Report. They've been doing this since the start of the coup, at the beginning of the year, consistently. So yeah, so I guess that's a benefit of being an organization, that you have, a lot of hands and a lot of pots, so you don't really necessarily have to take on all of that.
Okay, Ricky, I got a quick question. What was the spark that led you into getting into organizing?
Well, that's a
How far does that take you back?
It doesn't take me that too far. I think I really started. I was a liberal. I was a Democrat. I took voting very, very seriously. I was one of those people that said, you don't vote, you can't speak. But then I got introduced to the Black Agenda Report. I started reading about Libya, and my thoughts around Obama changed, and my thoughts around politics changed, especially during that time, with the DACA vote and Medicaid for all. There was things that the Democratic Party was doing that I thought was just ridiculous. It was obvious they were holding a lot of these things hostage so that they can make sure that they won, and then they lost all those seats in 2010. So that's kind of let a spark, and then Torian Brown, shout out Torian Brown, sent me Assata's autobiography in 2014, in January 2014. So this is before the Mike Brown and all of that started, and I was in this little group, this reading group. It was like 3 of us. And we had the idea to start a Malcolm X Day, because we wanted to have a day of literacy, similar to how they were like doing the Martin Luther King. I mean, in hindsight, it was a very liberal idea, but we wanted to do that. And we were pushing for a petition, and we got thousands of signatures, but it just never went through. And then that summer happened, where John Crawford, and then Eric Garner, and then Mike Brown. Yeah, so that kind of pushed me. But up until from that point, up until I want to say 2017, I was just online, just not doing anything but voicing my opinion online. But it wasn't, it didn't do anything. And in 2017, I had the idea of doing Liberation Through Reading, because people were having back to school events around here. And when I first moved to Maryland, I lived in this area called Pioneer City in
Out Laurel. I know where Pioneer City
yeah,
is.
no, it's in by Fort Meade. So I lived in Pioneer City, but when you drive around that bend, there's like $500,000 homes, single family homes in Odenton and all that. That area is very, I guess, underserved, underdeveloped, intentionally so, because they're trying to push those people out. They want all that space. They're building around them, in fact. But it's a very underdeveloped area. And when they were doing the back to school drive, I had the idea, because I had just had my son, and I was getting all these books to do Liberation Through Reading, and that's how that started. But I didn't get into the organization until BAP in Ujima in 2018, and that was after I was working alongside the Team Keith campaign at the time, and Kelly Davis and Tawanda Jones had an event with John Mubaraka. And that's how BAP Baltimore was built on that day when I joined. So, and the rest is history, I guess. But yeah, it's been a long journey of unpacking, and that's why I'm so critical of being online and the way that people engage online, because I did that for so many years, and it's a very limited limited space, and the politics are just wonky and bad. And it's encouraged in that platform. There's a lot of reactionary things that I've done online that I thought was being radical, that I thought was being, and then in hindsight, I'm like, nah,
Okay.
like
The
you
the
couldn't
moral
pay
of the
me to do
story.
that much shit.
The moral of the story is get from behind your keyboard and make it happen.
Yeah.
If you're physically able.
If you're physically able, exactly.
But even in that sense, right? Everything is not a visible situation when you're in organizations. Like I just said that I was doing a lot of stuff, but that's not me doing this, that's not me showing up at an action. There's a lot of clerical work that goes on. There's a lot of, we need note takers. People don't come to these meetings and they don't want to take the notes. We need people who do design. I mean, there's several ways to plug in. I don't think people should view joining an organization as what they see people who are the more visible ones in the organization doing. Like Black Alliance for Peace is an organization of hundreds of people, and folks probably know 15 of us, right?
Right.
You see us more, but we're not the engine of it. We're just the visible people.
You're right. It's a lot of parts. A lot of parts that go to the making it happen. So yeah, definitely. Well, appreciate that, and you doing what you're doing to get in these organizations and push forth the agenda. So that's a beautiful thing. All right, welcome to the Remix Morning Show, y'all, where you learn something about somebody new every day. With that said, we're going to go ahead and take our first break right here on the Remix Morning Show, and we're going to come back with some news and some other things right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's get it like that. Stay pushing the wrong button. What's good, everybody? Welcome out. This is the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and I will ask you to please hit that like button if you're just getting in here, and if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. This way you'll know about all the new shows and different things coming on. We got all types of shows here. You want to learn how to fight. You want to learn how to be a gamer. You want to learn how to DJ. You want to learn political education. We got it. It's a one-stop shop. So make sure y'all go here, right here to Patreon also, and go be a member over there and get some extra content that's not over here. With that said, let's go ahead and get to a quick, I want to do a quick artist spotlight. Who did I want to talk about? No other than these sisters that's put in some work for a long time that don't get a lot of recognition. Did I say that right? Here we go. Well, anyway, let's talk about Tia Mowry and her sister Tamara Mowry. Now, these are both actresses. They started with the sitcom back in 1994, Sister Sister. 1994 to 1999. Had a nice little 5-year run with that. And then they started together in a comedy film called 17 Again. They voiced sisters in the animated series Detention, Disney original channel movie Twitches 2. They've done so many different things. Featured a reality series TV show, Tia and Tamara, did I say that right? In 2011 and 2013. They've been doing it. Even animated voices for Bratz. Had movies for that. Family Reunion. They've been doing it for a long time. Not even that. They also put out an album when they were younger. Both of them had a group in the 90s called Voices, and they had a song called Yeah, 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 Yeah in 1992. It charted number 72. It wasn't a banger like that, but hey, they did an album, and they put that out, and they've been in the spotlight for a long time. So many films they've done, and television, been putting in television work from 1990 all the way to this date of 2023. So you might also remember the sisters also had the talk show. They've done everything. So I just wanted to give a spotlight to these sisters for putting in the work and, contributing to the culture. With that said, let's go ahead and get back to the Remix Morning Crew. You know how we do. All right. yeah.
Did you like have a dearth of people to spotlight this morning? Were there just like no other? I'm contributing to. Let me not be so mean. I'm sorry. Let me take.
I mean,
The-
I bet Ricky was like, "Those is my girl."
Movie. I was about to bring the list out.
I bet there it is.
I think I object to the contributing to the culture part. Like,
I mean, they entertainers. They contributed to the culture.
In their early years, yes, because I did rock with some sister. I did.
Oh, see.
That's
But
because of Jackie.
but
And your boy
later
from-
on in life,
Tim Reed.
isn't
Tim
one
Reed.
of them isn't one of them married to a Trump? I'm so confused.
Yeah,
I don't-
Yeah.
I'm not.
Hey, but the other one's married to a black man, and
First of all, the white man didn't
well,
have
she
to be a
divorced.
Trumper.
It's not that the dude is white, is that he's a full on Trump supporter. But look,
Hey.
their early career is okay. I'll give it that. Let me drink some more coffee and stop
There you go.
this.
Oh no,
Tangent.
right. Sister, I don't think aged that well because when Netflix put it back, there is that episode where they had the friend who thought she was black, but a lot of those shows really, like Girlfriends.
Mm,
Yeah.
But when they were on, I enjoyed them.
yeah.
It was a nice, it was nice to
Women had a nice run of in living single girlfriends. Had a nice run of sister shows. You know what I mean?
I never liked Girlfriends anyway.
I was more of a Sex in the City
Living
guy.
single stands alone. Living
Yeah, I
single
was gonna
stands
say,
all by itself.
I would also put Half and Half separate from that too, because Half and Half is that stands.
Oh,
That was good.
garbage.
Mm.
Anyway, I digress.
in that UPN setting, I
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
mix Half and Half
Okay,
to
yeah.
Girlfriends. It's as far as like the script writing and stuff. It
Man,
was a better-
UPN let black people live, boy. They just like, yeah, you got a show. Come on.
Man, UPN got their money up off black people and then kicked all the black programming off.
That was the writer's strike did that. They had
How
to
about
combine WB and UPN into the CW. But the writer's strike,
That's what happened.
yeah, because all those
Yeah.
shows ended early. Yeah, Girlfriends, I don't even think had an ending.
No, it didn't.
Damn. That's a damn shame. All
And
right.
what was the word that you used earlier? I think
I
he
don't-
was trying to say recognition, but it didn't come out that way.
It
No, it didn't. It came out. It came out in Trentonese. I didn't quite recognize it.
Rewind the tape.
I said that's how they must say that word in Trenton. Because everywhere
man.
else they say recognition.
Hey, long night. I'm still trying to get my vision right. All right, I'll catch you on the next break.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Ooh, shall we slap the map?
Let's get it, girls.
Let's.
Yes. Welcome, everybody, to the Remix Morning Show, exclusively here on Black Power Media. It is already the 20th day of September in 2023.
It's a winter season.
Oh my God. Oh shit. It's almost gangster season, you mean, for the Libras. Jesus, the Libras are the real G's of the zodiac. And we anticipate eagerly Libra season. But hey, you guys are getting ready for the autumn equinox, which is this weekend. So as we say goodbye to summer, we welcome to autumn, and we welcome everybody to a new season here on Black Power Media with the Remix Morning Show. It's Wednesday. We got Jacqueline Lukman, Erica Keynes, aka Ricky Ryan. My name is Kim Brown. We have the ear doctor, being Charlie in the back, so we'll take it. Thank you all so much for showing up and joining us this morning. Don't forget to hit the like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Channel Cole kicking ass, everybody. Over 1,000 subscribers in a week. Book. That is big time. We big timing them out here. We ain't little timing no more. So thank you all for your support and your love of Black Power Media. Please consider being a patron. You could be a member here on the channel, but go to patreon.com/Black Power Media, or you can run the channel some bucks directly via super chats or Cash App, $ Black Power Media. Jackie, do you wanna conduct us and guide us this morning on our first story?
Oh, yes, because, woo, Africa on the move. You hear me? This is huge. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso sign the Sahel Security Pact.
Oh,
They literally like, I wish a motherfucker would try to invade Niger. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, 3 West African Sahel nations ruled by military juntas. I prefer to call them military transitional governments, signed the security pact on Saturday, promising to come to the aid of each other in case of any rebellion or external aggression. The 3 countries are struggling to contain Islamic insurgents linked to Al Qaeda and Islamic State, and have also seen their relations with neighboring and international partners strained because of the coup. No, the relations were not strained because of the coups. The relations were strained because of France, and they wanted France out. That's why the relation. Okay, the latest coup in Niger drove a further wedge between the 3 countries and the regional bloc, the Economic Community of West African States, which has threatened to use force to restore constitutional rule in the country. Economic Community of West African States. ECOWAS is an economic formation, and they talk about invading somebody to restore a constitutional status. Mali and Burkina Faso have vowed to come to Niger's aid if it is attacked, and they made that vow before last month when the military transition happened, but they put it on paper now, so it is formal and official. Any attack on the sovereignty and territorial integrity of one or more contracted parties will be considered an aggression against the other parties, according to the charter of the pact. They got a charter and everything, known as the Alliance of Sahel States. It said the other states will assist individually or collectively, including with the use of armed force. I have today signed with the heads of state of Burkina Faso and Niger the Liptako Gourma Charter establishing the Alliance of the Sahel States, with the aim of establishing a collective defense and mutual assistance framework. Malian leader Assimi Goïta said on his ex social media account, all 3 states were members of the France-supported G5 Sahel Alliance joint force with Chad and Mauritania, which was launched in 2017 to tackle Islamic groups in the region, but that formation has collapsed. And of course, relations between France and the 3 states have soured, not since the coups, but it's never been good because these people have always wanted France the hell out of their countries. And here we are. France has refused to recognize the authority of the military transitional government, but ain't nobody asking for their permission for nothing. So here we are. And I have to add that this part right here, the 3 countries are struggling to contain Islamic insurgents. That is an oversimplification, if not an outright lie. It's not that the 3 countries are struggling to contain, Islamic terrorism or whatever you want to call it. It's that terrorism has increased because of the involvement of the US through AFRICOM and through France. Terrorism serves the interests of the neo-colonial powers because it continues to destabilize the government, keeps the people from focusing on being organized, and keeps people's focus off of what the colonizers are still doing, and always have them focused on, fighting terrorism. So this idea that these countries are unable to control or contain Islamic terrorism in their countries, and they need France and the U.S. To help them do that, that's garbage. France and the U.S. are the reason that these terrorist groups have proliferated like they have. So this is a big deal in the Sahel.
Yeah. Well, since the fall of Libya, and we're seeing the fallout of that with what's currently happening in Libya, how NATO forces destroy the infrastructure in Libya completely. But that has pushed the insurgents or Islamic terrorists into the Sahel deeper and deeper. And since that time, Islamic terrorism, quote unquote, has spiked at least 500% um, in the region. So when we look, that's always been the assessment when we look at the coups and the formation of the coups and how they're playing out. When we look at the historical basis for why these coups exist, we always have to track back to 2010, 2011 in Libya. And the expansion of AFRICOM since that time, because it has deeply increased the sentiments, the anti-France and anti-U.S. sentiments that have been, impacting and being embedded within in the region. So we look at these countries, and it's significant with these countries because they have a mass base that is growing strongly in anti-imperialism. There are formations on the ground in these nations that, as a mass base, is growing a political line that's pushing these transitional governments in a particular direction. And so when you see this happen, and then you look at the coup recently in Gabon, you can see there's particular distinctions in the way that they're carried out, and that is due to the masses of the people. As Gabon begins to grow, the masses of Gabon and in the region in total, because we're still looking at Senegal, right? Senegal could pop off at any minute. There's, Chad as well. As we look at the growing sentiments in the region of not just anti-France, because they really want to pin it to that, but it is anti-imperialism. It's what it is. We see France, particularly because these are Francophone nations, and France is so embedded in their nations that would be naturally the first target. But it is a growing anti-West, anti-NATO, anti-imperialist sentiment on the ground. So as these masses and these forces begin to strengthen that, you'll see the transitional governments make particular moves. So that's my take.
So clearly, these nations think that there is a possibility that they could be attacked because they formed this charter saying that if you attack one, the other ones will come to that one's aid. And I know, Jackie, you mentioned earlier that France is not happy, but is France doing any major saber rattling when it comes to the formation of this alliance? Are they indicating that they intend to attack, or would they even indicate, or would they just go in and attempt to do something?
I think, from my estimation, that France is trying to be very careful because they don't want to be seen. That they're fine with being neo-colonizers, but they don't want to be seen being the white people militarily invading an African country. That would be a bad look. They don't want to do that. But they're also like not leaving right now. Like the Nigerians have demanded that the French ambassador leave. He has refused. So they've turned the water off, the power off, and they intercepted a shipment of croissants.
Are you serious?
No,
No,
yeah, serious. Yeah, they really did. They took them croissants. They're like, no croissants for you.
Give me them croissants. I'm not gonna give them goddamn croissants.
So France is not doing overt saber rattling. They're letting African nations, and they're letting ECOWAS and Nigeria do that for them. And the United States, of course, is sitting back, not saying anything. because they are, the United States, I think, is unconcerned about France losing whatever influence they have on the continent, because they're trying very hard to hold on to theirs, the United States is. So the US is hoping, I think, US officials, while they'll say, they're in support of France and, this is undemocratic and blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. The United States is also really not doing a whole lot of the typical saber rattling, because they're hoping that this sentiment among the people in the Sahel is just targeted toward France, and that the US will escape scrutiny. But I can tell you that's not true.
Yeah.
That's the people are, for people on the continent, for people in West Africa, France is the immediate everyday kind of symbol of imperialism. But people know that there is somebody behind that curtain. The curtain is thin, and they know it's the US. So there's a lot of there's a reason we're hearing about invasion of Niger from African nations and not necessarily from France and the US loudly, because the optics are bad. They don't want to be seen being, the white people invading the African nations again. Although they don't, yeah. So it's a very interesting situation. And like we say, or like we have been saying about these military transitions, which, some imperialism can change, a revolution can happen through a bloodless non-military coup. It can happen democratically. But at this stage in the game, you cannot root these people out through voting folks out. Through it's going to have to be some type of military involvement, and there is a historical precedent for that, especially on the continent. So, but these situations are changing. They're changing pretty fast. There's something going on in the Congo. I'm not sure what it is. I have to look into it. There's a lot going on, but I do know that the West is terrified about what's going on in the Sahel right now. They're losing their grip on the Sahel, and they are terrified about it, and that is fantastic for us.
Right. And I think the other point to highlight, I think that is significant, that it is, in fact, the anti-West sentiment that is growing. But what we're seeing specifically about the anti-French serves the U.S. Because while they actually do need France, because France has always played the buffer. And then the U.S. can come in and say, well, if you don't like France, it's either us or Russia and China. You don't want to do Russia and China. So that's the role that the U.S. is playing right now in terms of how they're positioning themselves. Because Victoria Nuland absolutely did show up in Niger. So they have a stake. They have their base there, their drone base there. They have their CIA base there. They have a stake in what's happening. They do not want to be put off the continent. So it's easier for them to talk about and highlight the anti-French sentiments and the overall anti-West sentiments that have been growing since the start of the proxy war, especially since Gregory Meek's bill for the Russian Malign Act that condemns and sanctions African nations for taking a position or even aligning with or allying with Russia during this proxy war. So as these things are unfolding, and then we look at what's happening with BRICS, and there's a more internationalist sentiment growing, not only with the states, the states, but the masses as well. Who I don't think people really recognize or realize how in tune the African masses, especially in the Sahel, are with what's going on in terms of internationally, far more aware than we are here, because it's a stake for them. or they're aware of the stake that they hold in it, as opposed to how aware we may be here. I think there's a level of sort of naiveness, I guess, around how informed we need to be about international issues or what's happening. But the African masses are, especially since it's a growing and expanding youth population. It's majority youth, so they are in tune with what's happening, and you're seeing that unfold with all these shifts. But it is very important to note that these things are unfolding every day, so we don't know which direction it's going to take. But as of right now, this is a net positive that that they would align Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger.
So we know that the United Nations General Assembly is meeting this week in New York. To either of y'all's awareness, has either Macron or Biden been asked or commented about this new alliance in the Sahel? And if they haven't been asked about it, I think that's also kind of telling too. If the whole development has been omitted, I suppose, from mainstream media sources. I don't expect U.S. media to cover this at all, but I know that, there's a lot of foreign press that's in town in New York this week, and I'm just curious to y'all's awareness. Has this been brought up to the Western powers for comment?
I don't think it has. I know that Biden spoke yesterday at the UN, and he didn't say anything about it. But I mean, what's he going to say? What's any European leader going to say? They're all members of NATO, which charter says the exact same thing. I mean, the NATO.
Yeah, I would just be curious about what he would have to say, considering there were coups, and then they had the lady from Peru was able to speak. So I would be curious about, what they would have to say. I haven't heard about anything in particular, but that's a contradiction that they're so concerned about the military coups, but they're in support of the lawfare coup that happened in Peru.
Mm-hmm.
So
does Islamic terrorism create a buffer between the rich and poor in Africa like the black gangs do in the US? I think I'm confused. How do black gangs create a buffer between the rich and the poor in the US? I don't think I understand that.
And when they describe Islamic terrorism, like what goes for terrorism? I'm just not clear on, I guess, the definition of Islamic terrorism the way it looks on the continent.
Right. Well, there are kidnappings and murders and massacres and rape. Those things are happening. But I think the use of Islamic is part and parcel of the overall Islamophobia, trying to pin it solely on the religion and not the practice of imperialism and who funds these groups. But so I think while we could note that that is their religion, that is not the driving force. And the use of Islamic terrorism is to point to that as a driving force, and not how the expansion has happened and why they have grown significantly.
Right. And to that question, I think we're assuming that these groups are the ones that create a buffer between the black bourgeoisie and the black masses. Those groups don't create the buffer. Capitalism creates the buffer. The black bourgeoisie are, unless, and I say this all the time because Walter Rodney told us about academics, that academics are the enemy of the people unless they prove otherwise. That's the same is true of entertainers, politicians, and the black bourgeoisie. Unless they prove that they are on the side of the people, they align with their class interests. They don't, that there are no black gangs that separate the black bourgeoisie from the black masses. That's capitalism and members of the black bourgeoisie who who support the policies of their class interests and don't care about the masses. Gangs or whatever you want to call them, they emerge out of the oppression of the masses for poverty, because of poverty, or in the case of Haiti, because the core group, which are a bunch of white European leaders of other countries that are not Haitian, are arming these people to sow the kind of chaos that they need for their narrative that they're using to say that Haiti needs to be invaded. Look at all of these criminal gangs. So it's not that in the Sahel, Islamic terrorist groups create a buffer between the bourgeois. No, that's neocolonialism, capitalism, and imperialism propping up comprador leaders on the continent, just like capitalism props up petty bourgeoisie Black folks and Black misleadership politicians and leaders to work against the Black masses in this country. I hope that made sense. I hope I addressed the question.
Question addressed.
Cool. So I got another story, unless Ricky, you want to
Yeah, I had a news story.
Yeah.
I put it in the chat. But I
Oh,
said I don't know how this
okay.
works. I'm gonna let y'all do it.
All right. Got you.
And while you're getting that together, the word you were trying to say, Ricky, I believe was naivete.
You know what?
Thank you, Ear Doctor. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you had time to Google it and make sure that I was correct. I always appreciate the help.
And play the pronunciation thing with it.
You see, it took him 10 minutes, right? I mean, I just want to be clear. That was 25 minutes ago.
Here you go, Ricky.
Thank you. I wanted to raise this because you mentioned Haiti, and also today at noon, I'll be at Montgomery College speaking on Haiti and the situation there and the zone of peace. So folks are in the area. I'll be on the Tacoma Park campus, and I could drop that information in the chat. But this is going on currently. The Dominican Republic closes all borders with Haiti as tensions rise in a dispute over a canal. So I've just been made aware of this not too long ago, because this seemed to develop fairly quickly. I knew that there was there was something happening with the canal, but I didn't really have all the details. And then I seen that the president of the Dominican Republic was calling for intervention and occupation. So I wanted to get this story out. So it says the Dominican Republic shut all land, air, and sea borders with Haiti on Friday in dispute about construction of a canal on Haitian soil that taps into a shared river as armed Dominican soldiers patrolled entry points and military planes roared overhead.
Oh.
Flights were canceled and border towns, usually teeming with vendors and Haitians crossing daily to work in the Dominican Republic, were subdued. Crowds of people on the Haitian side gathered under the shade of trees as they observed the scene on Friday. Nearby, a white flag fluttered in the breeze under a Haitian flag in a sign of peace. So I did want to just talk about this paragraph right here, because it says it's unclear how long how long the rare closure of the borders will last, with Dominican President Luis Abinader, I think, saying the measure will remain in place as long as necessary. The country's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that in the statement that the canal project violates a 1929 treaty and must be halted immediately before pursuing any other dialogue. So about that 1929 treaty, that happened during the occupation of Haiti, the U.S. occupation of Haiti. The U.S. occupied Haiti for about 15 years, from 1915 to around, I think, 1930, 1931. And that treaty sort of set the borders, I guess you would say, along Dominican Republic and Haiti. So to even draw mention of that treaty without making mention of the sort of duress that it was made under, because Haiti was occupied. So it wasn't as if Haiti did this as a sovereign nation. So it's important context here, and I think it really ties into the crisis of imperialism in Haiti that's still unfolding today, because the Dominican Republic state obviously has had a long-standing anti-Haitian tendency, and that's evident in both policy and social interaction. And this is not to speak of like individual Dominicans themselves, but to speak of the state. So this treaty, like I said, was signed during that occupation. So the legitimacy of it is what remains in question. And then also how much of the Massacre River, um, which is known as, belongs to Haiti and belongs to the Dominican Republic, is in question because of the illegitimacy of that treaty because of when it was signed. Um, so yesterday he was calling for the occupation and the intervention of Haiti, citing the canal. And this just adds another layer to what's already been a crisis of imperialism, including in blackface with the Kenyan military being in Haiti right now. And they were using gangs, as Jackie noted, serving as paramilitary forces as scapegoats to get international agreement to reoccupy and reinvade Haiti. And this is all being led, of course, by the core group. So I think that these are dynamics that are not really being discussed, because it's really, really easy, and I guess also necessary, to point to the anti-Black sentiments of the Dominican Republic, but they don't exist on its own. There is a historical materialism that goes alongside what's happening, especially when we look in terms of the occupation of Haiti, and then why it's called Massacre River. It's called that because in 1937, when the U.S. leaves, they don't leave. It's really important to note that they don't actually leave when they leave. A lot of these armies and militaries are still trained by the U.S. military and army, so they still serve as liaisons in that fashion to train up these militaries. And it's called the Massacre River because Haitians were dumped there at that time. Um, they were massacred and dumped there. So there's a historical precedent and a necessary history to point to that leads up to what we're seeing now, because what's unfolding now in Haiti is just goes alongside the trajectory of occupation that has long inflicted Haiti since 1915. So right now, the BAP Haiti Americas team currently has a petition going, that's I'm encouraging people to read and sign. You can find that petition on the Black Alliance for Peace website, also on the Haiti resource page on the website. We have the Crisis of Imperialism zine. We also have the Haiti and colonialism document that was produced with Malagoff, and Malagoff is a grassroots organization, anti-imperialist organization in Haiti, in Port-au-Prince. So check that out. And they're also key partners in our Zone of Peace campaign as well. And then, as always, we have the fact sheets on the core group and the OAS. There's also a syllabus. We produced this much work around Haiti primarily because we understand Haiti being pivotal in the Americas, as far as Haiti being the laboratory in terms of how the rest of the Americas are dealt with. When we look at the OAS, when we understand the long reach of the Monroe Doctrine, a lot of these things developed through how Haiti was interfered with. So that's why we're the Haiti's America's team, um, because we prioritize Haiti. But we prioritize Haiti because we want to see advocacy for Haiti the same way that we have seen the growing advocacy for Cuba. We understand that that can't be done without political education, without people being aware of what's happening and what has happened in Haiti. Because the application that we're seeing for Cuba that's happening now did not just happen. It took years of development, years of development. So if we want to see that for Haiti, we have to push that as well. So a lot of what we do and a lot of the work that we do is to make sure that people are aware and can advocate for a free and sovereign Haiti.
Ricky, what's the relationship between the Dominican Republic and the United States in relation to Haiti?
Well, The president is a right wing neoliberal. He was very fond of Trump.
Mm.
That was Trump's guy. But he can easily be a tool for Biden as well, because Biden's policies on Haiti has not shifted since he's taken into office. He was supporting Jovenel Moise illegally when he was holding office, when he should have stepped down. Up until the assassination, he supports Ariel Henry. He does not recognize the fact that nobody has voted. There was no democratic process at all to place Ariel Henry. So I think that this is a benefit to the U.S. Again, why I noted that the call for intervention and occupation that's coming from the Dominican Republic, citing this canal issue, is only another layer to the already existing calls to occupy that Kamala Harris was going to CARICOM to insist that they intervene. It was going to Kenya, Rwanda, to insist that they intervene. So I think that this what's happening is a benefit to whatever existing policies the U.S. and the core group has for Haiti.
So what does the closure of this border mean consequentially for the people in Haiti that were crossing the border to go work, and now they can't?
Right. Well, it's deeply going to impact the ones that were. It wasn't just a few people that crossed that border. It was thousands, hundreds of thousands of people daily that went back and forth. So this is going to impact it's already a nation that's being impacted terribly. There's a worker situation, which is a benefit for the use of the rise in gang violence, because it omits the workers uprisings that have been happening in those same areas consistently daily. So there's already a crisis for workers that exists in Haiti, because of the policy, the U.S. and Western policies. So what this is just going to add another layer to that. Because of that impact that's already existed in Haiti, people were having to cross the border and having to go into a situation where they already knew anti-Haitian policies existed, just so that they can, put food on their tables. And now that's not even an option for them. So it's really going to create another critical crisis, or add another layer to already existing critical crisis of imperialism in Haiti.
Yeah, and Al Unique in the chat made this point about this canal in particular, that Abinader doesn't want Haiti building the canal, because if Haitians are able to irrigate and grow their own crops, feed themselves, that's less the DR can sell the Haitians. And remember, the United States wanted to control the Haitian people through controlling their ability to feed themselves so much that the U.S. government killed all of the black Haitian pigs on the island, which were unique. The black pig, I forget the Haitian name for it, but the black pig was unique to Haiti. Along with, they grew their own rice and corn and other things. But the United States, when they invaded, came in and destroyed all of the Haitian, indigenous Haitian crops and livestock, so that they couldn't feed themselves. So that Haitians had to depend on exports of food from other places, like the United States, in order to survive. That's how deep this thing goes. So thanks a lot for bringing that story, Ricky, and for the clarity, Al. Unique.
All right.
Wow.
I love it. I love it. I like the fact that we have a news segment and then we got news. So y'all did actual great job.
Sometimes things go the way they go, and sometimes they go as planned.
Women get it done. I gotta say that. I was just over here reminiscing about my trip to DR. I was in the I actually was in the back of a cop car in DR. Funny
That's
story.
not a surprise.
Because
That's not a surprise.
because
Well, actually, I was with my homeboy. It was my 40th birthday, and we was out there, and he had on a bunch of gold and stuff like that. We was walking down the street, And the cops was like, "Yo, bro, you might want to get in this car." He gave us a ride back to the hotel.
Why
I was,
y'all Americans go out of town flashing, man? What's up?
Foolish, just foolish.
it
Why
wasn't me. It wasn't me.
I mean, but they would have stuck you up too.
I
You
know.
understand? Like,
Mhm.
Big up to my man Tico. He's naivete. All right, let's
Oh,
go ahead
shut- that's not the right tense. That's not the right tense. Oh,
yes.
so close, but
Let it stand, Jackie. Let it
and
stand. Let it
yeah,
stand.
I worked it in there. Put a
okay.
little
I'ma let it
oil in there,
slide.
got it up in there. All right, we're gonna take a quick break right here on No Other Than the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Boy, you would have thought I was an English major in school, but nah, African studies. All right, here we go. Let's talk about it real quick. Listen, we are in the month of September, so why not talk about something that's very big in September? Let's talk about Earth, Wind, and Fire and the song, the single, September. Oh, yeah. Now, September was a song that came out on my birthday, November the 18th, but 1978. Another year, but still a great day. All right, so September is a song that Earth, Wind, and Fire did in 1978 on Columbia Records. Now, this is known as one of their most commercially successful hits that came out, and it's been covered by everybody. It was even added to the Library of Congress National Recording Registry, listed as one of the most historical songs and in the top 500 songs ever made. So many people have redone and duplicated this song, but Maurice and Philip got down on this song, and it's one where you can hear all the different tones. You got, it got a driving beat to it that'll get the people on the dance floor, and it was really big for them. So if you want to go check out this song, you should go check it out, and you should go play it, especially since it's September. When I do weddings, this is one of the biggest songs they always request of me to play. And this song has went platinum 6 times here in America. And you're talking about 7 times in Australia. This is a worldwide song. 3 times platinum in Mexico, United Kingdom. This is a very big song by no other than Earth, Wind, and Fire. So I just wanted to shout them out for the song that they gave to the culture. All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and get back to the Remix Morning crew right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Show. Hey, what's your my number one Earth, Wind, Fire song is Reasons. What's your number one Earth, Wind, and Fire song?
Can't Hide Love. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me shut up.
Oh, not good. That's good. Can't Hide Love. Doom, doom.
You are my love and you can't deny. No, it's true, but you tried to hide. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. Philip got busy on Reasons, but go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know that I have one. I know Mr. Lukman was the ultimate expert and fan of Earth, Wind, and Fire and Stevie Wonder, and that man knew stuff. I just got tired of him telling me stuff about Earth, Wind every time. Just, did you know that Verdine would?
Verdine got a hairdo, boy. I tell you. He looked plastic almost. What you know about Earth, Wind, and Fire, Ricky, before your time?
No, it's not before my time.
Okay.
But I don't know that many songs because that's not my mother. Like most of the songs of that era is what I know that my mother played relentlessly. So she was like a Teddy P, Marvin Gaye. So if she did listen to that, it was more like Donna Summers. Like I know everything Donna Summers ever did. But yeah, but she plays it, but that's not her.
Okay.
I feel like there might have been a Donna Summers Earth, Wind, and Fire collab somewhere in there. Maybe I'm mistaken about that because I think it was the Emotions that were singing on like shit. What's the song, chat? I know y'all know it. What's the Earth, Wind, and Fire song that the Emotions were singing on? Boogie Wonderland. They sang on
Oh,
Boogie
Oh, okay.
Wonderland.
yeah.
But why do I feel like there was a Donna Summer EWF collab somewhere in there? Maybe I'm imagining it, but
I don't know. But I was just thinking the other day, as genres of music, R&B has different umbrellas like disco and stuff like that. But only other musics, I guess it would be after R&B would be R&B, rock and roll, and hip hop, where you're rapping on the track. All the other genres have you singing, right?
I don't understand the question.
I'm
I don't understand. What? Wait,
So
say that again.
very slower.
a little slower. All right, for my layman's out there. What I'm trying to say is like I didn't use that one right neither.
Yeah,
For my
no, I think you
lumpkins.
hit that actually. I think you hit that one right on the
It's not
head.
layman's. It's already plural when you said men.
And why ain't it lame women?
Ah!
Anyway, I'm just talking.
We will allow the extra S already on the plural men's because that's black. Let's go.
I put a Z on layman's.
Hey, even better. Do it.
Yeah, my question don't matter. Anyway, I'll get back to it later.
All right.
Peace.
Thank you, Ear Doctor Remixers. Thank you all so much. Come on in, hit the like button on your way in, on your way out, subscribe, etc., support. We appreciate y'all showing up. We are strong in here, knocking on 400, if I'm not mistaken. I did something to the chat, but we're doing strong in here. So yes, we got Jackie, Erica, Kim, Ear Doctor. We got another story. I emailed a story to Ear Doctor and to you, Jacqueline, unless you guys had another story that you wanted to get to.
And if you emailed it, let me look. I have to open up my email, which is taking a minute.
No worries. Shout out to the whole remix crew. Did you guys have a chance while we're waiting? Did either of you have a chance to check out Kalanji's interview with Killer Mike?
No,
I did.
I
And
just got clip notes.
yeah, I
You said
mean,
you took notes, Ricky?
No, people sent me their notes, but I didn't. Yeah.
People said their notes. Well, what did you think, Jacqueline?
I don't have a lot of positive things to say to people who believe that we can't fight for the people because powerful entities spend a lot of money. That was I was just like, most of the other interview was like, I mean, I knew that's how he felt, but when he hit that part, we can't fight back against Cop City because these corporations have spent $100 million. Well, I guess we shouldn't have fought back against slavery either because the plantation owners had all the damn money. I guess the Haitians should have never fought against colonization because the plantation owners had all the money. I guess Patrice Lumumba and Thomas Sankara and Samora Machel and Mehdi Ben Barka and all of these African revolutionaries shouldn't have fought back, and Amilcar Cabral, they shouldn't have fought back against the colonial powers because the colonists had all of the money. I don't understand that thinking. I get the liberalism, okay, and I get the hesitance to speak out against Cop City because of familial ties, because his family members are cops or whatever. But
that's not even what he said.
Huh?
It's not even what he that he didn't even reference his family ties.
Yeah, I know, but I know he didn't talk about them, but I get that's probably why he, but when he said that, I'm like, that so just because somebody is rich and powerful, we should just lay down and let them do whatever the fuck they want to us. And that's just I just what am I supposed to say to that? I don't I don't know what to do with that other than to just scowl at it.
Well, Jackie, per Killer Mike, we need to see what we can get out of it. We need to see
That's
what little crumbs the master left on the table that he could scrape on the floor for us, so we can crawl on the ground and pick up the crumbs. What crumbs can we extract out of a project like Cop City?
and that's the thing. There are none. There's nothing good in it.
Mm.
There's nothing. So I just, I got a lot of respect for Kalonji. I know that Kalonji has been friends with Mike for decades, but I don't know. I'm just kind of weird in inlet. My friends ain't. I can't. I don't know. I just don't know what I'm supposed to do with that comment.
I just had a question in terms of, well, it's really for you, Kim, in terms of your experience in journalism, your long-term experience. I know Musa and myself, we always talk about, that's your bag. Like, if you do nothing else, that is your bag, because you're really skilled at it. But I know there's a criticism about, does everyone's voice particularly need to be highlighted? Especially if they're not adding anything differently, they're not saying anything differently than before. Is it necessary to interview them? And then also the criticism of allowing them to just speak freely. As a journalist, like, I just wanted to know your opinion about just that, because I haven't watched it, admittedly, and I know that they were highlighting things I said in the chat when I was talking to people in the chat and making it seem like I was judging the interview that I didn't watch. But I was talking to people in the chat about the grace that they give for nonsense, not particularly the channel. Because I feel like I've I don't have real, I made certain statements known to members that I connected with, so I don't think that there's an issue about relaying criticism, but I don't want it to be mistaken for that. But in terms of the criticisms that I have seen raised, I think I wanted to ask you specifically, because this is what you have done for so long. How would you have approached that interview, or in terms of being able to push back, or even inviting, or that particular voice, or someone, not Killer Mike per se as an individual, but someone who in every interview has not said anything differently. So is it necessary to have them on the platform?
So there's a couple things. Like, I think number one, Killer Mike specifically brings eyeballs, right? So ultimately, if the goal is to set out a message, but it's also to attract attention and viewership to the channel. And I think Killer Mike does that. And I think that Kalonji interviewing him brought that kind of value to the channel. Now, for me, I've always found it challenging to interview people that I have personal relationships with, because that's my man's. I'm not going. I'm not. I mean, we journalists can play like, oh, I would treat everybody hard hitting. That's not true. Like, if you have an established relationship with a person, especially a friendly one, not even like an acquaintance or someone that professionally, but someone that is that's your boy, right? You're not going to talk to them the same way. You could try, but you're not. But I give Kalonji credit because he asked the question, right? That was the question. Like, Killer Mike got a new album out, whatever. Like, I wasn't interested in all the ancillary stuff. I wanted to know his position. I wanted to hear him say it, what his position was on Cop City, because he has been outright cagey about it, or refused to answer, or just not spoken up and said anything about it. So I think from a journalistic perspective, I respected what Kalonji did there, because he asked what he knew. I assume that he knew would be a difficult question, because Mike hasn't talked about it. And the answer that Mike gave, so for example, when Killer Mike was talking about the police oversight board, and he said he would like to see somebody like Kalonji sit on the police oversight board, I was I was hoping Kalonji would respond to that because I don't see Kalonji on the police oversight board. You dig? So I thought that was something that maybe Kalonji would push back on or have a response to, but he let him talk. So I mean, and that was understandable as well. And so everybody has a different style. I think what Mike brought is, people tuning into the channel, which ultimately what we want. But I can appreciate just letting him go and getting his comments on the record. I think Jared referenced this yesterday on the remix. Like, even if we strongly disagree with his position, it's good that his response on this particular topic is out there, and it needs to be out there because people that might view Killer Mike, and there's a lot of them that view him truly as some sort of radical rapper, as a highly conscious rapper, dare I say even a revolutionary rapper, depending on whatever folks' definition is of that. People needed to hear him say that he was not opposed to this injustice of a facility that's going to be imposed upon Black people in Atlanta. Like, they needed to hear him say that. They needed to hear that bourgeoisie take that he gave. So I think that was valuable in getting him on the record and make sure that people are aware of his position on this, especially Black people in Atlanta. Did that answer your question, Ricky?
Yeah.
And then I think we have to remember that interview even happened because Dr. Cornel West wasn't available. So it was, one of those when you're a journalist, and this happens at least probably, I don't know, once or twice a month on By Any Means Necessary, you have somebody lined up for a segment that you want to do, and something happens in their schedule, and you have to scramble to get somebody to fill that spot, and sometimes like we've gone through the list of, like, during the summer when people are on vacation, you go down the list of people and nobody's available, and you end up talking to somebody about something that you don't really care about. you, you're not really interested in this topic, but you got to fill this 15 minutes, in our case 15-20 minutes. And then, if Sean and I don't kick it between the two of us about something, or find a Mumia clip, then, we're scrambling, doing a 15-20 minute interview about something that we're just like, okay, let's just get this over with and get this show in the can so we can go to lunch. So I don't know. I think there is, I understand that there is a range of political opinion position on this platform. Were it me, the range would be smaller. I'm just going to. Were it me, the range would be we're revolutionary, Pan-Africanist, internationalist, anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, or we ain't doing it. But
authoritarian, Jackie.
I mean, this is I'm pro purge. I don't know what y'all want me to say. This is why when the revolution happens, don't put me in charge of nothing, because people might disappear. But I mean, but I understand. But I also understand that I used to be liberal too, and I had to go through that process of deliberalizing myself. So people are where they are politically, and we have to have we have to have something for people who are on that same journey that we were on. So they can make those connections, because I'm under no illusions that we're going to get on here and talk anti-capitalism and socialism and revolution, and all of a sudden everybody's going to get it. That's not how it works. It's not how it worked with me.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. I think that interview was it was very beneficial because it caused conversation.
I think if in terms of if there were objectives for the interview, like you noted, to get ratings, to get viewership, to ask that question and get him on the record, then it was a successful interview because those objectives were met. And I do try to think of things because I organize in terms of objectives, what are we trying to gain from what are we doing? So we're not just doing a thing to do it. So, obviously we don't know Kalaji's intentions because he hasn't actually named them. But if those were the objectives, then I would say that the interview was successful because he met those goals. And I think about that in terms of like when we have to have advocacy days and we're on the Hill, right? Don't nobody want to talk to Congress. Don't know, like, honestly. But we're also aware that 8 times out of 10, they've never even heard of these bills that are detrimental to a lot of the nations and peoples and movements that we work so closely with. Like right now, Tim Kaine and Marco Rubio are pushing a bill to punish Nicaragua, more sanctions on Nicaragua. But the bill also includes that anyone who invests in Nicaragua will, from the U.S., will serve 20 years in jail. So if you're buying property, like I noted before, people are moving out there. So if you're buying property as a U.S. citizen, you could face up to 20 years in jail. So when you do advocacy days, there's a lot of senators who have never even seen this bill or heard of it. So you have to explain it to them and all of that. And then you really have to assess what is the usefulness. But then if your objectives were to get this bill, to get in front of this bill, and then to make sure that enough people know about the bill that you can agitate against it, then that it was a useful trip. So I try to think about the interview in terms of that because everybody has an opinion. I have my own personal opinions about Killer Mike, about I guess the necessity of every voice, right? But objectively, we have to look at the usefulness of a thing when we organize. So in terms of if there were objectives and those were the objectives and they were met, then I would say that it was a useful interview.
And I wish Killer Mike was a whack MC. Like I wish he sucked at rapping, so it could be so much easier for me to dislike. And I don't. And again, I've never met him personally. I don't know what kind of guy he is. I'm sure he's a nice, pleasant man in person. But it's like, dog, if you was whack, this will be way easier. You know what I mean? But you can rap your ass off, and it pisses me off that you have his politics. You know what I mean? Like,
I do hate that I'll be driving around and I'll have my playlist on and Run the Jewels is on the playlist because I do dig Run. I'm like, damn it, that's fucking bars, but I hate you.
Yo,
I don't know any of his music. I was late to the scene, and then by then he was a no for me. So I don't know any of his music.
You might remember Ricky. So the Outkast had a song called "The Whole World," cause the whole world.
I remember verse, yeah.
And he's that's his first verse, I believe. Killer Mike is on it with the glitter, glisten, floss, floss. I catch a beat running like Randy Mouse. Ride a bitch off like a brand new hoe. Like, yeah, that's so. I had his first. I bought his first CD. Like, I've liked Killer Mike as an artist for a long time, and I guess that goes into the contradictions of people's art that you like, but their politics or their personal behavior leaves much to be desired. It's like, God damn, I can't really fangirl you like I would like to because I disagree with you on this very important issue. So,
I don't know. Well, so Kim, I didn't see the email.
You didn't. I sent it to Luke Mon Nation. Maybe I should have sent it someplace else. I'm sorry.
No.
Ear Doctor, can you pull that up? Shit.
I'll let y'all go ahead and pull it up while we do a break.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
so that way.
fine then.
Yeah, now we have a nice smooth transition and stuff like that. Yeah, that was I didn't catch the whole interview, but it was an interview.
Oh, my dumb ass didn't send it.
Oh, look at that.
It's still sitting in the okay, my bad. It's coming, Jackie.
Hopefully what I will say is, you get a person that does have love for their people, but is trying to really learn the whole system of political education at the same time and is already in the spotlight. Hopefully they learn and grow from this. I mean, that's what we hope all our people do, because we're not all, we don't know it all. So therefore, somebody that does have the love of their people and can be steered the right direction with the right people around them, he could be a very good asset. So we'll see.
And I think that's important. If Killer Mike can be turned, to the good.
Don't think that.
You don't think so?
Let's have faith. Ain't you a religious person, a spiritual person?
You Obama?
Oh,
I mean,
exactly.
I always see the good in everything. Yeah, I do. I could see that, we can be better as people.
Yeah,
I would love to see Kiana Jones sit down with Killer Mike. Like, that's what I would really like to see, because I think Kiana Jones would get that nigga together. I really do. You know what I'm saying? And again, I don't want to place more work on black women. Goddamn black women work enough out here. We can't be, with the leading these brothers out of the desert. But goddamn, I think if anybody could reach Killer Mike, I definitely think Kiana Jones would be the one.
I'm a dialectical materialist. I deal with the conditions as they are. Exactly. And how we need to respond to those conditions as they are. Those conditions may change, but whether they change or not, that's not how we move on whether they may change. We deal with how they are. And I would like for us to spend less time and energy focusing on whether a celebrity changes their whatever, and more time and energy focusing on what we gonna do. That's why I'm always at what we gonna do.
Facts. That goes back to organizing, y'all. Like I said, back in college, I didn't want to be a black Greek. So I started my own organization, Society of Ma'at, which is about the goddess that represents truth, justice, and righteousness. So you got to start your own thing. You can't sit around and just be waiting for others to do that. All right. With that said, let's go ahead and take our third break right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Oh, damn it. There go the wrong button again.
So many things I'm going through. So much that I want to do.
Yeah. She said, so many. Yeah, I don't know the song. But y'all know it. In case y'all don't know, and who I'm going to talk about right now is a sister that put out this song. She goes by the name of Amerie. Yes. Let's talk about her real quick. Actually, I thought she was from D.C., but she's actually from Finchburg, Massachusetts. Reason I thought she was from D.C. because she had this banger right here that had that go-go beat to it, and I was like, oh, she must be from the district or something. But she's not. Actually, parents are moved from Korea. Her dad's from Korea, mom's here from the States, and she wound up dropping a couple albums. She had 4 studio albums, actually. All I Have, Touch, Because I Love, and Love and War. So, but she's known for this joint right here, One Thing that she did with Eve, EVE. She actually does more than just music, though. She came up doing choruses on certain hip hop albums, like Nas' Rule song on his Stillmatic album, and also Royce da 5'9". She did a hook on that too. After that, she finally did her own album and came out in 2002 with Why Don't We Fall in Love, and that was a definite banger in the clubs right there and on the radio. But not only does she do music, she actually put out a bunch of different books and different projects. She's done film. She has at least 5 different books she's put out. She has Image Awards. She's been doing more than just a singer and behind the scenes. A lot of people credited Beyonce's sound coming from her when it came to her sound, the tone, and how airy the music sound. So I ain't gonna say Beyonce bit, but it's out there. All right, with that said, go ahead and do some more research on this sister and check out her books, check out her music, and that's it right here on the Remix Morning Show. Now let's get back to the crew. You know how we do. All right.
Yes, doctor. You absolutely play too much. Say her name
is.
What's her name here, doctor? What's her name?
What her name is?
Amerie?
No.
Why it look like that when you spell it though?
It's Amerie.
Amerie. Who does that?
But ear doctor, the song is 20 years old. You've never heard anyone call her Amerie in 20 years.
No.
Oh my God.
Amerie.
Wow.
What's up with these black names?
And then you said
hold on.
Beyonce. What was that you snuck in at the end?
What?
I didn't hear that quite clear.
What
Beyonce,
about how Beyonce kind of stole her style?
I don't know about style,
Where?
but
The sound?
they
Okay,
use
the
the same
sound.
producer. They use the same producer. The producer, I believe, his name is Rich Harrison. Rich Harrison
Yeah.
is from the DC area,
Right. That's who did one thing.
Yeah.
so
it
that's
sounds-
where the sound came from. So yes, Amerie had that sounding track first, and then Beyonce came. I think that what was it, Deja Vu? No,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
What I know.
I mean, and it's no disrespect, but how we define a sister, and it's no, I mean, I never thought Amerie was black. Is she black? And I don't know it.
Yeah, she's black
Yeah.
and Korean.
Oh, okay. I just assumed she was Asian. But you just
Oh,
said
you
both
thought
her
they was-
parents came from Korea.
Oh, you
Nah,
think
I
you
said
thought it was
the
like a
dad.
Pink situation?
Oh, what
Huh?
situation?
Like Pink, like they just how Pink busting on the R&B tip, and everybody thought Pink was black.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
I never thought Pink was black. She
I was very
looked like a white
confused
girl to
about
me.
people who thought that Pink was black. I'm like, what? No,
Yeah.
she's just soulful, but she's not.
I got
That's-
to see Amerie perform.
Blazing.
It's funny that you mentioned Beyonce because that's where I got to see her and Mario open up for the Destiny's Fulfilled tour. I got to see them at the Garden.
Oh wow.
Nice.
I was sitting behind Fossey Brown.
Oh,
Hey.
Yeah, we
ain't
moved
that-
out. Shout out to the Garden.
All right. So yeah, that's your artist spotlight for the day. We up to 404 people watching live. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Gracias. Peace.
Thank you. Thank you.
all right.
Rita.
Got your story, Kim.
Yeah, but I can't read it. So I read it a little bit on my phone, but when I saw the story, I said, well, this is just this is solving nothing. As we know, the dire situation for people incarcerated at Fulton County Jail there in Atlanta, where I believe over the past year, 16 people have died. I think in 2023 alone, I think that number is at 9. Most recently, a 32-year-old black man by the name of Samuel Lawrence was found dead at the Fulton County Jail. Not a coincidence, in my opinion. Mr. Lawrence, in fact, had filed a federal complaint about the treatment that he was receiving. He said he was not being fed. He required medicine. He said he was not receiving medicine. His family indicated that he was indeed suffering from mental health illness. He was bipolar. He was in jail on a arson charge. And he had been incarcerated at the Fulton County Jail for 8 months without indictment. Now, I'm not clear on how the legal system works in Georgia, but that sounded wrong. So long story short, I believe he was the most recent person to pass away. But in response to this, the Fulton County Sheriff is proposing an idea to move hundreds of incarcerated people from the Fulton County Jail to a private prison in Mississippi. And Jackie, if you could pick up the story there, because I believe this jail, not only is it privately owned, but owned by Core Civic, which is notorious mass incarcerator of our folks.
Yep. So the Atlanta Journal-Constitution is reporting that the sheriff down in Fulton County is floating ideas to reduce overcrowding in county lockups by moving hundreds of inmates to private prisons. The Tallahatchie County Correctional Facility in Tutwiler, Mississippi, which is operated by Core Civic, as you said, and the D. Ray James Correctional Institution in Folkston, run by Geo Group, another private prison operator. The cost of sending inmates to those facilities and the schedule for doing so are still in negotiation. Adams is slated. Let's see, who is Adams? Adams, I guess, is the sheriff. Is slated to discuss inmate outsourcing options attached to the that's what they call it. Attached to the agenda item is a 12-page marketing brochure for the D. Ray James facility. It starts by announcing itself as a, quote, turnkey solution for agencies looking to reduce facility overcrowding issues, but does not mention cost. They say
they're not worried about cost.
No, they're not. They're thinking about profit, because turnkey literally means in marketing terms how you can move items around to make money. That's yeah. The Folkestone facility is a campus of nearly 500,000 square feet with over 2,000 beds, divided between 4 buildings, support buildings, ample indoor and outdoor recreation. Why do they make it sound like a resort?
I say, what is
According
it?
to the
Camp?
brochure. Yeah. Go ahead, Kim.
You know what I'm saying? It sounds like camp.
Right. Right.
There's plenty of place for your child to run. 500,000 square.
Right.
Lord.
So the important part here is that moving Fulton inmates from to Folkestone would put them nearly 300 miles away, while Tallahatchie is about 400 miles. The public defender for the Atlanta Judicial Circuit petitioned September 12th in Fulton Superior Court to prevent inmates from being shipped that far away, arguing that doing so would severely damage attorneys' efforts to present them effectively. The public defender's office routinely represents about 80% of those in pre-trial detention. Pre-trial detention means that people have not been found guilty, but they're in prison. Why? Because they could not afford bail. So these people are talking about, if I'm reading this correctly, Kim, they're talking about moving people who have not been found guilty of a crime 300 to 400 miles away, farther away from their attorneys who are representing them, and farther away from their families when they shouldn't even be in prison in the first place. Oh, boy.
I'm not clear on how people can be held on charges but not an indictment. That when I heard about the story of Sam Lawrence, like I keep scratching my head about this because obviously I do not know how shit in Georgia works. It obviously works different, right, than a lot of places. But I'm sorry, this man was being held for 8 months, 8 months without an indictment, but I don't even see how that's grounds to keep you. Like, if the grand jury is moving slow, then what the fuck? Like, your right to a quote speedy trial, like all of this nonsense, all of these so-called rights that people are due under the law, like it never applies to poor Black folks, like never ever in the history of evers. And this proposal just I mean, it sounds like convict leasing. I don't know what kind of arrangements the core group and the GEO group have with these prisons that they operate in Mississippi. Who knows what the inmates are tasked to do there? So it sounds like Fulton County is willing to send an unwilling labor group, an unwilling group of laborers down to Mississippi, and they not addressing the issues that are happening in Fulton County Jail. Overcrowding is one thing, but the conditions, the filth. I mean, this is still a jail where a young person was literally eaten alive by bed bugs. I don't see how moving hundreds of people out of the facility, what that does to address the immediate conditions that let's say the remaining incarcerated folks would still be facing if this move is even taken.
Yeah, and you know how this happens. It's literally because people are charged with crimes, and their bail is set by a judge, and they cannot afford bail. They can't make bail, and they're unlike people who are not working class and poor folks, who can afford an attorney who will argue on their behalf, that the person, this is their first offense, or this is a low level violation, and the person is not a flight risk, and judge, we're asking that you release my defendant on their own recognizances. Yeah, we don't get that. We don't get that. The bail is set, and if we can't make bail, we go to prison. We get locked up until trial, and trial can take years, as we saw in the case of Khalif Browder.
Mhm.
You know, so this system, and I'm not going to say the system is broken. This is how the system is designed to work. This is debtor's prison. It's supposed to be illegal and unconstitutional, but that's exactly what this is. This is the same thing that was revealed in the DOJ report on Ferguson. The same thing they were doing in Ferguson. Oh yeah, nobody pays any attention to that because it just so that's how this happens. Not everybody's case goes before a grand jury for an indictment. You know,
Right.
they're just charged, um and you go before a judge, they set the bail, and if you can't make bail, you sit in jail, and you sit in jail until trial, or until they force you into a plea deal.
I think in Chicago, I read that they just ended, or the state of Illinois, maybe, just ended cash bail. But I'm also a little wary of that because I remember a couple years ago that being a big push with abolitionist movements and cash bail. I know, I think um, BYP, they were one of the main leaders behind that. And I think California got as far as doing it, but they created like a lot of other ways and mechanisms to keep people inside. So while that fight, I think, was won in some capacity, it became another fight in other capacities. So I'm just always watching how these things play out. Because even in terms of what they're doing, we've seen that happen with the Rikers situation, right? The call to shut down Rikers became a call for more humane prisons. And
Right.
now we see that that's the struggle happening in Chinatown because they're very well building it now. And Rikers still has not been shut down. So I'm always wary and watching and setting the tone and the way that they maneuver, at least with the state, because even when we fixate on private prisons, we don't recognize that public prisons or prisons that are not private maneuver in the same exact way, and they house significantly more people. Um, and they're left to their demise. I'm also thinking through, like, I just in Voices of Vision, Nefa played the clip from Mumia when he was talking about aging out in jail and how there's more seeing more wheelchairs than ever before. People are like literally aging out. So that's just, when I think in terms of like all of the context around prisons, it's a lot. It's a lot, and even with the speculation around Trump in Fulton County, that does serve as to ignore all of this other stuff because
Mhm.
there's never been any reporting. I tell you, MSNBC is in my household daily from Morning Joe to Lawrence, so it's the whole day.
Girl, how do you do that? I would be throwing things. My TV would stay
Ooh.
broken. I've been throwing shit at the TV all day.
There's struggles that happen in this household daily, but it is a benefit because you get to hear things on record. Um, but in that sense, they have not ever spoken about the bed bug situation. They have not ever spoken about the amount of people who have died in the Fulton County jails, especially the same ones that Trump has his mugshot taken in. So the speculation around law and order in Georgia is being highlighted and prompted up as a good thing, like Georgia's getting it done. And in the meantime, in the background, we see the indictment of 61 people in a RICO charge. We're seeing this happen. So it's a lot of contradictions that's happening in Georgia, but overall, these are the contradictions I think that we're seeing play out in the prison system across the country.
Mhm.
Jackie, and Erica, if y'all know, I don't think that jails have to report deaths.
No.
No.
Like we really don't know how many people die in jail every year because it's not something that this isn't data that is collected and assembled by the federal government to say that X amount of people passed away. Like it's very disparate, and it's basically, I guess, media reports that we know these things, or if the jails themselves decide to release that information, but they don't have to, right? They're not obligated to share with the public. if people died, how they died, and under what circumstances. And I don't think correctional officers, no one ever gets charged with deaths in jail.
No.
Unless
Right.
it's inmate on inmate, right?
They don't have to report it. I know New York recently ended it. I know they were doing it for a while. They got a courtesy because of the COVID situation. But they announced that they're no longer going to report because I think last year a couple people, I think up to 5 or 6 people were died at Rikers, and they said they're no longer going to report. So it's a lot of investigative reporting. Yeah. So it's a lot of investigative reporting that we know how many, and that might not even be the number. And then when I was working a couple years ago with the Bailout Black Mamas initiative, shout out Samantha Masters. We were, you have to sit in those jails because you're waiting to get people out. And we're talking to the officers and who are in there, and we're like, why you do this? Like, this is a lame ass job. You really want to be this? And they're telling you, no, I don't want to be a guard. I want to be a correctional officer because you get your benefits, and they have to create it's a lot to get fired it's a protected job. They actually have to build a case on you. So your file has to come to it has to be this thick before they start to go through the process of removing you. So for people becoming a correctional officer, it seems like a guaranteed safety net job where you get your benefits, you get a steady income, and it's really difficult to fire. So, and that's what they were saying to me. So yeah, I think that's why we never see anybody because they have to build a case. I guess if it gets up to a certain amount of people, then they're like, okay, maybe you have to go now. But I don't think we ever seen people get charged, at least correctional officers, for these kind of things that we know daily. They are assaulting inmates. I have a nephew currently in jail, so we know that these are things that are happening daily, all the time. We know that they stand back and watch, the prison fights, and they encourage it, and they're involved in all kinds of activities. But it does take a lot for them to be removed. And that's why the prisons itself are being ran the way that they're being ran. It's lawlessness.
Yep. So, we have to remember that the prison system in this country is a part of quote unquote law enforcement, the carceral system. So think of how much power police on the streets have. It's the exact same thing. Only what they do is shrouded in the secrecy of being literally behind the walls.
Right.
So this is why advocating for political prisoners, and we are all in line to be political prisoners, or that there are millions of them behind it. This is why advocating for political prisoners has to be at the foundation of our organization. If you're not talking about what's going on in prisons to our people, you're not talking about the liberation of our people.
Absolutely. All right. We got any more stories, everybody?
Yes.
Remixers, like button, share, subscribe. Thank you, please. Let's make them likes match these live views, please, and thank you.
I don't know how y'all not mathing like that. That's just very weird how you do that.
It's hate watchers, Jacqueline. People come.
Who gets it? This is what I don't understand. Who gets up at 7:45 in the morning to hate watch anything? I'm sorry. I don't get that.
Haters, raise your hands, announce yourself, because we know y'all in here. Don't make me start naming names. Don't make me start keeping attendance of the haters.
Yeah. Well, I don't hit the light. I only hit it depending on whether or not your doctor gets on my nerves. So if it's a basic fix, then I like it. But if he irks my nerves, then no.
Then no like for you.
You see, now look,
See?
Ricky announced herself as a hater. Look, I like it. She said, "It's me. Here I am."
You got to earn the likes.
Daily, on a daily. Okay, I understand that. Okay. So anyway, always we are always up to something. The Black Alliance for Peace, always up to something. September will be over very soon, and that will mean our International Month of Action Against AFRICOM. We do this every year. This year, our oh wait, sorry about that. I had to find the slogan. This year, our focus and slogan is on connecting the actions in the Sahel to what's going on with us here domestically. And our slogan is from Niger to Haiti to Cop City, defeat the war against African people. So we have 4 weeks of actions against AFRICOM, and the kickoff webinar will take place on October 1st. And we have participants on both coasts of this country and in West Africa. Very, very exciting. For folks who believe that Pan-Africanism is dead, let me explain to you what has happened with these military transitions in the Sahel. And I can't tell you everything, but I have talked to people who are from these countries, who are in the US right now, who are, first of all, thankful that Africans in the US even care. Like they are like, we are so thankful and grateful. Like we talked to a brother who is in Niger. And every time we have a meeting, it's like, I forget the time difference, but it's like 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning there. And he is up on the phone, giving us updates. And he's always, we thank our brothers and sisters in the US for your work and for your support. And, so this idea that Pan-Africanism is dead and that Africans on the continent don't give a damn about us and they hate us, these people don't know any Africans, obviously. And like Ricky said earlier, the masses on the continent, not down to every single person, but most people on the continent who are deeply affected by US and Western imperialism know that the same kind of oppression is happening to African descended people right here. They know what's being done to African descended people in France. They know about the migrant deaths and they understand these things. So what we're seeing now in the Sahel is also propelling what I think is, I don't want to call it a resurgence because Pan-Africanism has always been, but I think it is fueling a strengthening of Pan-Africanism. And it's really hard to ignore it. And I got to tell you, it's really, really exciting to be a part of it. This really feels like a historical moment. So yeah, all kinds of good stuff.
And revolutionary Pan-Africanism.
Mm-hmm.
One united socialist Africa.
Mm-hmm.
The scientific goal of revolutionary Pan-Africanism, and we're seeing that emerge in the excitement around the potential of federations growing in Sahel, and then also with this newfound defense alliance, we're seeing the prospects of that becoming realized. So it's a net positive for what's going on. I know Back Baltimore will be working with Archive Liberia, with my girl Belfina Yuan, to put on a screening. We'll be watching a documentary on Liberia and then talked about AFRICOM's presence in Liberia and in West Africa as a whole. Yeah, and if folks are not aware, I know our comrade Chibo Subukwe wrote a really great piece on Liberia and AFRICOM for Black Agenda
Yeah.
Report a couple months back, really giving the details to the longstanding history of what's happening now. So that's what we'll be doing October 13th at Nomu Nomu, which is our designated home. Oh, shout out to Nomu Nomu as well, because they'll be having a fundraiser this Saturday. Nomu Nomu not only supports BAP because Joe is a Solidarity member, but they support a lot of the grassroots organizations as far as giving space for free. A lot of the arts in Baltimore, they promote a lot of the Black arts and artists in Nomu Nomu in that space. It's a really, really dope space. So I just want to shout them out. And if you can't attend the fundraiser, buy a ticket, because they do open that space up for free. We were able to do our whole entire summer school. That's 4 classes there over the summer, and Curve Fest. They never ask for much, even though we still, try to contribute. But they're always really good solidarity with Black Baltimore, especially. So their doors are always open.
Where are they located, Ricky? Where in Baltimore?
401 North Ave. Hold on.
Oh, North Avenue. Okay.
Hold on. Howard Street.
Howard Street.
Let me get it correct. Don't want to send people to the wrong place, but no, they are. It's a really dope space though. And then every month, I think they showcase. I know in August there's a group of Black artists called the Salt Eaters. They had a lot of their artwork showcased, and this month they're going to be doing something else. But let me get the address for you since I'm promoting now.
That's right. Let's get it correct. I like my pronunciation.
Oh.
Hey, Marie.
I mean, at least you're consistent with it.
That'd be the type of stuff I wouldn't like for. See, then he gonna get on my nerves.
Some of y'all be snatching y'all likes back. I think like y'all might like the video, and then you be like, you know what? never mind. Take this back.
709 North Howard Street.
909 North Howard Street.
709
North Howard Street. I feel like I can see that, but maybe I can't. But that's what's up. That's what's up.
Very nice.
Well,
Very
y'all
nice.
did a great job today, ladies.
Is it 10?
Well, thank you.
Well, we got like
Dear
7 more minutes. So we got 5 more minutes till we got a mix at the end of the show, because we hit like 400 and something, 420.
Hey,
Ooh,
we'll take it.
nice.
Thank you all, remixes. We appreciate that.
All right. So we'll be back tomorrow with a whole remix of other hosts also. This is what we do on a remix morning. You never know what you're going to get, but you know you're going to get something good.
Have you gotten any submissions for the remix logo?
No,
remix?
I haven't. And one more time, go ahead and put it out where they can send it. And like I said, if it's good, I'll shoot you some money for it. You know what I mean?
But see, I think the people need to know that when you say some money, I mean some.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
It's a little vague.
It's intended to be vague.
If somebody knew, like, oh, okay, ear doctor's gonna give me $200 if they like this design. Oh, okay, well, I know what I'm designing
good,
for.
If it's real good, then I get more.
It's
If it's
my
all right,
But more than what though? I mean, I don't know what the base is. What's the floor here? Where are we starting at? What's the starting point for this graphic design?
You'll be able to pay a couple bills.
Nigga, I ain't designing that shit.
That's not.
You need to know.
It will pay you in Bitcoin.
I was about to say you could be sliding people in crypto.
I got some Monopoly money on deck.
That's
Come
what
on,
I'm saying,
I'll let your
man.
boy.
My
right.
cell service is Boost Mobile. That's $50. You know what I'm saying? That ain't nothing though. But then
Hey,
nigga, 50.
It's a bill. God damn! Don't you got a YouTube? I mean, a Netflix bill or something need to be paid? I got you.
Them says little bills. Them says baby bills.
And I got you. If you got Tubi, I got your bill.
Oh,
right.
that.
Charge for that? That's a shame.
That's
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get out of here on
Get
the
outta
mix,
here.
and we will check y'all out again tomorrow morning. Let's do a mix for the ladies. Let's go right here on the Remix Morning Show.
I believe in your heart. I always want to stay. Can't turn me away. Get money. I believe in your heart. I always want to stay. Can't lie to your honey. I just want your money. I'm Sunny Bunny. Don't run from me trying to get away. Just say okay. 'Cause money, I want you back. La 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 la, baby. There's no need to tell you. As far as I can clearly recall, my love has been here for you. So you don't have to worry at all. I'll sacrifice my time. I'll make sure you're satisfied. And there's no hard thing to the joy I'll bring. I wanna give you all of my love, yeah. I'm loving you every day. I'm loving you. Don't you love no more? Love without a limit. Love without a limit. I'm loving you every day. I can break it down like whatever you want. Don't you love no more? Love without a limit. I can break it down like whatever you want.
All clock style, arriving is the bulletproof lyricist. Rude boy, big up, now hear this. I'm classic, like a Coca-Cola. Why don't you roll up L and make it spiffy? Are the L's twisty? Oh yes, let's get lifty. Long live the rugged female, have the beat. So all you gun waving niggas, put down your Glocks, please. No need for playing the hard anymore. The bulletproof lyricist is knocking at your door. So open up, let me in, let's get nasty. If you wanna, I'll freak that book like a film by Heather Hunter. Touch it, I might just touch it. Touch your shit, MC.
You know that you're so fine. Baby, 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 baby. Baby, baby. All the time. Yes, it's time to say, baby, baby, how you make me feel when you come to my makes me keep running to you. Makes me keep running to you, baby. These feelings that I have, I can't explain, and I can't repeat that to you. The way you make me feel makes me happy, so I can be just making love.
Let's get it right here. No other than Black Power Media Remix Morning Show as we get ready to go. Take y'all out on this Wednesday. It's the hump day, y'all. Let's get it in. Come on.
There you are, looking at me. Tell me what you want this to be. It could be everything that your heart desires. All you gotta do is stick around for a while. There's so many things that I wanna do. Take you all around. It's all up to you. If you take my hand and just follow me, there's no telling what we can be. Just you and me. Keep on moving. Don't stop. Like the hands of time. Quick, forward
Come on closer, y'all.
I'm getting high.
And we out of here. Once again, this is no other than the Remix Morning Show. Tune in tomorrow morning and get closer to your dreams. Peace.
I'm getting higher and higher.